Yeah.
I mean, it's, sometimes I think, Pastor Stephen, we assign value to the things that God puts in front of us, and some things are more lofty than another. Changing a baby's diaper is as important as preaching a message.
Purpose.
I mean, it's right. I mean, we kind of classify things, and I don't know that Jesus looks at it in that same way.
I agree.
But,
I think humanity tends to get religious really fast. Even as Christians, I think we tend to fall into the religious ditch really quick. And we tend to exchange obedience because it's simple. Because a lot of times the Lord will make it so simple for you, our obedience, and we tend to think, well, I'm going to upgrade this to sacrifice. And in case in point, think of it, like at the very beginning of time, there was only a few people on planet Earth. You got Adam and Eve, and they got two sons, Cain and Abel, and right away they're going to bring a sacrifice. And Cain thinks, well, I'm going to upgrade this, and I'm going to, they're worshiping only the one God, the real God. But, Cain thinks, I'm going to do it my way. Cain, I talked about him being a spiritual socialist because the thing is, he wanted to basically have everything fit his narrative. This is reversing the funnel. That's what he did. It was like, here's what I feel like my purpose is. I'm agriculture, so I'm going to try to squeeze my purpose down into an identity, and from the identity, then I have a subjective morality. I got myself some subjective truth, and by subjective truth, it's basically truth that fits me, truth the way I perceive it, as opposed to truth the way God reveals it. And John 8 says clearly that you will know the truth, capital T, as Pam talked about. You'll know the truth, and the truth has the power to set you free. The problem is we got a lot of, why do we have so many people that profess Christianity and they're not free? It's because they've got their funnel upside down, as Danny was talking about. And so, he referred to Colossians 3, saying, like verse 23, whatever you're doing, whatever your task, work at it heartily as something done for the Lord and not for men. Well, how do you do that? He was asking, so that we're doing it properly. Maybe if we're not even sure about what it is we're supposed to be doing heartily. Well, we back up, we go to verse 16, just a few verses earlier, and it says, let the word spoken by Christ have its home in your heart.
oh, that's so good.
Flip the funnel.
Hello.
Put the truth at the top.
So good.
So if you're not starting with the truth, you have no way of getting to a true identity, and therefore, no matter what your purpose is, remember, we talked about it with the Obed-Edom challenge.
Right.
They were carrying the Ark of the Covenant. You can't get any more of a precious job than carrying the presence of God. They're carrying it, but they were priests. That was considered a very noble, amazing calling, but they got religious in their thinking. This is Old Testament, and there's the power of God they're carrying, and they reverse the order, and here's what happens. When the ox stumbled, which shouldn't have been carrying a cart with an ox,
that wasn't
when the ox stumbled, they reached out their hand against the order of God, basically trying to go up the funnel the wrong way. They touched it, and there was so much power, it was like a nuclear reactor, and the Bible says it literally dismembered and blew that priest apart. Well, this is how some people's lives feel. They feel like their life is being torn apart, and they're like, well, I'm serving and I'm doing this, and I don't understand, Pastor Stephen, I'm just exhausted. I just feel like the more I serve the Lord, the more I fall apart. And it's like, honey, just flip your funnel back over and start with the truth.
Truth. That's
Start with the
so
truth.
right.